Good morning. Yes, it is Monday morning, Labor Day. Electro freeze. This side is off. They've left it off. We troubleshot. What's that word? We did some troubleshooting with them on site Friday, and what was happening was they said it was squealing and it had been over freezing. And when you look at the error log, you're gonna get mixed out from the weekend. But then when we go back, cylinder high temp, motor overloads, cylinder temp alarm, cylinder high temp, motor overload. That alone should tell you what's going on, which is that the unit thinks, yep, that this empty barrel is 151 degrees. So it's shooting for -2. So it's not smart enough to realize, hey, there's probably a temperature probe problem. And instead it just keeps on keeping on. So the compressor just keeps running until the product is 15 degrees, 5 degrees, 0 degrees, 5 below. It just keeps on cranking until the beater can't physically fight the resistance anymore. It shuts down on a beater overload. So anytime you have a motor overload error, check your temperature probes, especially if you have a high temp and a motor overload error next to each other. 1000% you're going to need a temperature probe, which is right there. These are annoying because I may be able to do this with not taking the missile launcher off. If we were wise enough to not put this screw in it, and this is my location, so correct, no screw right here, so I will be able to remove the panel. Let's go. So this unit hasn't needed any work. What is this? This is a factory gift. We got a little foam tape. So we are completely powered off on this side. But if you look, so what we have here is our factory installed pressure switch, right, which has silicone around it. If you look at it, it's clear, but there is silicone all the way around it, as is supposed to be by the manufacturer. And in here is our temperature probe. Now, what happens, let me grab this real quick. What happens is you show up and this unit is frozen. If you try and pull, I gotta grab that foam because I'm gonna reuse most of that. If you try to pull this temperature probe out while it's frozen, I've had the heads break. So there's a little straw. Okay, now ironically, let's talk about this. This is wrong from the factory. So they use, the probe goes in, and then picture the cylinder is round, right? So the probe's going in right here, and it's gonna rub, let's say this is our cylinder. So the probe's gonna go right here, and then we wanna push it hard against that. Well, our straw's over here, so we've put our probe in, and now we're wedging it away from the cylinder. That's no bueno. So I actually end up replacing these with plastic fork tines. But if you try to tug this at all and it doesn't come, stop. Because that sucker breaks off in there, you have a much different problem. All right, so the factory temperature probe just connects from right here, and that's what runs back to the board. So if you are using a non-factory temperature probe because you don't feel like you should have to pay $100 for this simple probe, now you end up with the question of wiring. So thermistors, best practice would be never to use wire nuts, right? You don't want to create splices because you can alter resistance readings and all that. Wago brand lever nuts claims, and I've used them for a long time like this, as long as properly stripped, and there's a depth gauge on there that tells you how deep you need to strip your wire to, and in line, you can do that with no resistance drop. So that means I can stay with the original unit and inline Wago. So currently, we come to actual temps. We should read open. Yep, so I've got it disconnected. So let me wire this up and we'll plug it in. All right, we have put it in line. Remember, I brought the probe in when I first got here, so it should be ambient. And it is 72 degrees. So we have a proper reading probe. All right, so new temperature probe in. I took a straw. I was on the phone and I was doing stuff, and I'm sorry. This would have been really great to show you, but I had to get this done. I took a straw and then I physically cut it like a straw, you know, just a regular. Hang on. There's a lot of music in the background. We don't want any. So, I took a straw. And I had a little piece, but I guess I cleaned up after myself. That's an odd. Let's cut this. All right, now. All right, so I took his straw and I flattened it, and then I folded it in half one time to make a V, the whole thing. Then I set my probe in that nook of the V with the straw on the outside and pushed it up into the barrel. And then by default, this wants to expand and it pushes it against the barrel bottom. So, two issues, well, no, non-issue, boom. I filled it with water and then I filled it with mix. So she's ready to go. So let's turn that one on. This right side, it's saying mix out. It's in freeze, but look, how come we get no ice cream? Actual temps, oh man, it's 10 degrees. I'm sorry guys, sorry. There you go, all right, 6, 4, but no ice cream. This is really bad for the barrel, really bad for the barrel. Because they've run it dry. Not only have they run it dry, right, it's chocolate. So the bag is empty, so they're just air. So this tube is full of air, and a tube full of air gets nasty, right? And the barrel's empty. So you're scraping an empty barrel, which, look, you're obviously scraping an empty barrel. There's no mix in it. So that's super bad for the entire system. So these guys are like, oh, I don't want to lose any product, but they still are. Look at how much juice is in there. Yay. So we're going to properly prime this again. Yeah. 2 for 2. And the compressor shut down, and then, I don't know if you just heard it, it fired back up. So she's doing her job and reading proper temps. Game over. Okay, so also this cabinet, the gasket's all broken. Okay, so that's an inspection problem. It's not broken through on both sides, but the health department's going to nail them for it. So what you could do, if you didn't hear this from me, is, and on this one it would be challenging, the bottom of the bottom is not broken. If you were to take that gasket and flip it over, you could buy yourself time to order a new one and still possibly fool the health inspector, but no need. I keep these gaskets in the van, so you soak them in hot water to break their memory because they've been shipped in a box like that. So you want to break their shipping memory and make them pliable again. Show you some stuff about the gaskets. The old one comes off, you clean the track, and then you just work it in. There's a bullet, right? It works in, it works in, it works in. This is in all the way. So that bullet is in all the way. So the thing about breaking shipping memory on these things, a little bit more to get over here, is that, I think you're gonna see it best there. All right, so when you close it up, yeah, man, nice. Nice seal, nice seal, nice seal. Uh-oh, not sealed at all. Why? Is it because the magnet's not strong enough? No, shipping memory. It it wants to go back to where it was. Pull it out, get it to make a connection, get it to relearn what you want it to do, and it will, promise. Get over here, keep stretching it out, making your connection. I've actually, in extreme cases, there you go, I've actually taken a ratchet strap and put it around there and just give it a torque for, you know, overnight, the first night after you change it. The amount of service calls I've gotten after customers change their own gaskets on cabinets not temping because they freeze up. You know, if that stays like that for days, sucking in humid air. Right, and look, we can see out the bottom it's doing it too. So it happens. It's annoying. So it's really good to soak these things for half an hour in hot water before you install them.